Hello everyone and welcome back to the Chess24 Legends of Chess tournament. It's a game from one of the previous rounds. It's a game from round 6, but one that I didn't have time to show, but yeah, I really wanted to show it. So I'm showing it now. It's Nepomnioachtchi versus Viswanathan Anand, and this is game 4 of their match. Now the thing is, Nepo won in game 2, and he only needs a draw in this game to win the match, since game 1 and game 3 were a draw. And Anand really needs a win to take this into Armageddon. So that's one of the reasons why this game is interesting, but not the only reason. That's like being an understatement. So without further ado, let's check it out, as it is quite the game. So here, Nepo opens with e4. We have c5 by Anand. You need a win. Of course, you go for the Sicilian. Knight f3. We have e6 and knight to c3 now by Nepo, waiting with the d4. We have knight to c6 and the d4 now, postponed by a move. We have captures, and now queen to c7 by Anand. We have a3, so the Taimanov Sicilian is on the board. We have a3 and now a6. We have bishop to e3 and now knight to f6, just continuing development. And now this is a fairly standard position. Here you might see moves like bishop e2, f4, even f3 and such, but the move Nepo plays is a new move in the position. So already as of move 8, we have a completely new game. Queen to f3. It's not a new idea or anything in a lot of Sicilians, but for this particular position, it was not played before. And okay, we have b5. Chances are Nepo is castling queenside, so you might as well prepare this b4 push. You want to get the bishop in, you want to get the rook into the game, maybe c8, maybe d8, depending on what white plays. And here we have e5, sort of offering a pawn here, but not really, as b5 kind of made it impossible for the pawn to be captured, because if you capture it with the queen, then just knight captures, and if you recapture, the game's over. You lose the rook here. And if you capture with the knight, then you've just blundered the rook here on a8. So the point here is, after e5, Anand goes for knight captures on d4. So sort of giving up the rook, but not really, as from here you have knight to c2 check, winning the white rook. So it's not really an issue. So we have bishop captures on d4, and now bishop to b7 with an attack on Nepo's queen. Queen to g3 now, making it a bit difficult for Anand to develop his dark square bishop. But now knight to d5. Anand wants to exchange this knight on c3, and Nepo declines. We have knight to e4, which is really weird. Nepo really only needs a draw here, but he continues to complicate matters. So knight to e4, he offers the c2 pawn here. So queen captures on c2, and bishop to d3 now. Asking what do you do with the queen. So here we have queen to a4, attacking the bishop here, and here Nepo goes b4, and it seems like Anand's queen is trapped. Not really trapped, nothing is attacking it, but the queen doesn't really have any squares. Okay, you could try to bring it back with b3, but for example, if the bishop moves, let's say somehow to c2, the queen would definitely be trapped. But Anand finds the very interesting bishop captures on b4. Now this comes with check, so you don't have any time to capture on g7. We have a captures on b4 and the queen captures on b4. Now this also comes with check. If the king just moves, then the queen can capture on d4. So Nepo blocks it with bishop to c3, but now we have knight captures on c3. And this is the moment that Nepo takes the opportunity to play this knight to d6 check idea. And okay, king f8, at least you are now guarding the g7 pawn, and here Nepo castles, and we have this completely crazy position, which is, I think, is fascinating, because Nepo only needs a draw to win the match. So here, bishop to c6, Anand gets his bishop out of harm's way, and rook 8 to c1. Now there could be a lot of pressure on this knight here, but f5 by Anand. The f7 pawn could be a weakness at some point if the queen also joins the action, so you don't want to try something like that. And also there might be some ideas of maybe sacrificing with a delivered check and then some exposure here. It doesn't work now, but it could be sometimes in the future. So instead f5, saying that, okay, if you capture en passant, it doesn't really work, because I'm just going to play rook g8, and there's already a lot of pressure on g2 here. So instead we have queen to g5. Well, just a very active square for the queen. Ideas like bishop captures on f5 might be an option, followed by captures, and let's say queen f7. So here we have queen to d4, a very nice centralizing move by the queen. And now Anand is asking Nepo what do you do here. For example, if you try such an idea, let's say bishop captures on f5, then you have the very unpleasant knight to e2 check, and well, the queen's gonna capture on e5 next. Of course, you will not capture here, but now the rook is also hanging. You will capture on d5 and so on. So not really an idea just yet. So here Nepo decides to go for rook to e1. He defends the e5 pawn as he really wants to checkmate Anand here, and he gives up the light square bishop here. So Anand accepts the challenge. He says, okay, queen captures on d3, and now queen to h5. Nepo now threatens checkmate on f7. So Anand blocks it with g6, and now queen to g5 with the threat of queen f6 check, king g8, and queen to f7 checkmate. Now, how do you defend here with Anand? It's a very interesting position. So let's try something different. So here, feel free to pause the video and try to defend this position with black while I give you a couple of seconds. What's the best move here for black? So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting king to g8. It's important to defend the f7 square, so you really need to bring the rook to f8. If you try something like knight d5, yes, this does defend this f6 square, but rook ed1 attacks the queen. You're going to capture the knight and still get this queen to f6 move in, or rather, if black captures the rook. If not, then white just gets out of any mess. So after this queen to g5 move, Anand played king to g8. Now the rook can come to f8 to defend the f7 square. We have queen to e7, threatening checkmate, and rook to f8 now. And now Nepo continues the attack, knight to e8. Now again going for this checkmate with queen to g7, as now the knight also covers that. So rook to f7, attacking, and now knight to f6 check. We have king to g7, and now again a beautiful move by Nepo, knight to h5 check, saying that, okay, now if you accept the sacrifice, then queen g5 check will just ensure me a perpetual check, and it's a draw by perpetual checking, or rather by a threefold repetition. So here after knight h5, Anand says, okay, I don't mind taking a nice stroll. So king to h6 offers a full rook now, and now the game gets really interesting. We have queen captures on f7 by Nepo, king captures on h5. The king gets even closer. Anand really not worried here. And rook to e3. Now with ideas of rook h3 check, also if the queen moves, you're just going to lose the knight here. So knight to e2 check, king to f1. And now again, not giving Nepo a moment to catch his breath, just bishop captures on g2. Point is that you want to get your queen away from this rook with a tempo. So let's say king captures, queen d5 check, and next you're going to capture the rook as there's no longer the rook attacking your queen. So here after bishop captures on g2, we have king to e1, and now comes knight captures on c1. Here Anand gives up the queen as he's already up material, so he really doesn't care. Knight captures on c1. And okay, Nepo grabs the queen. We have knight captures here. And now this comes with check, so king to d2, and now knight captures on e5 with an attack on the queen. Queen g7 with a double attack here, but it doesn't matter since the knight moves with tempo. So knight f3 check, king e3, and now bringing the rook into the game. And here you can see the situation on the board. Anand has a rook, a bishop, and a knight, and well, so many pawns. That's like 7 pawns, and Nepo only has a queen and 2 pawns. So this is completely winning for black, unless Nepo will be able to somehow get some sort of a perpetual, or if Anand blunders some sort of a sneaky mate. So here queen captures on h7 check, king to g5, queen e7 check, and now king to g4. Anand goes even further with the king. h3 check, we have bishop captures on h3, and now queen here to d6, going for queen to g3 check, which would win the bishop here. However, even if this happens, I still don't think it would be enough for Nepo to get a draw, but you know, time is running low, so you never know. So rook c3 check by Anand. We have king to e2, and now comes the brilliancy of the game. Feel free to pause the video and win this game for Anand. It's actually, with best defense, it's like a forced mate in 19 moves, but you know, that's with best defense. So feel free to pause the video and win the game for Anand while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting the deflecting bishop to f1. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's bishop to f1 check. point is that if you move the king, the bishop now covers the d3 square. So let's say king to d1, and king to d1 is actually the best defense here, but it's only imaginary, because after this check you have to give up the queen, and now it's, well, a bishop and knight and an army of pawns against the king here. So that's not really an option. So instead, after bishop f1 check, Nepo captures the bishop, but now comes rook to c1 check, and it was in this position on move 41 that Jan Nepomnioachtchi resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Because if king g2, rook g1 is checkmate, and if you try the other way, let's say you go king to e2, then it's still rook e1 check, king to d3, and the rook d1 check, winning the queen. And again, if this moves, then it's just a rook knight and an army of pawns against a lone king, and of course there is nothing more to be done here. So after rook c1 check, just resigns from Nepo, and Anand manages to take this game into Armageddon. Unfortunately for Anand, even though he was able to take it to Armageddon, Nepo won the Armageddon and won their match. However, I think this game was exceptionally interesting, because here we're even gonna take a moment here to award Nepo none other than the most prestigious, well, you know what I'm talking about. This is the first time we're ever awarding this, but Nepo, we are awarding you with the Barnes Head for this relentless attack in a position where you only needed a draw. You went all out and wanted to checkmate Anand. Some would argue that it maybe would deserve more a Karl Schlechter head, but I'm gonna go with the Barnes Head on this one, because it was just completely crazy. And yeah, too bad for Anand that he didn't get to win the Armageddon, but even winning a game like this is definitely deserving of showing it. And I really want to show it right away, but I didn't manage, so that's why I'm only showing it now. And we have some time probably before the next round, so if you have some other games we've missed and that are really interesting, do use hashtag suggestion as it says below the board. So yeah, that's the game. I do hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Piotr Rzeczyca, Ismail Rivera, Uroš Petrovic, David Kimura, and Christopher Fernandez for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the Chess24 Legends of Chess tournament, checking up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.